That was the sound check was the warm up. You don't need more warm up. You actually finish while they're strong, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Paradise 2.
Low like
Paradise. Right. That feel part. All this is 1, 3 and 1, 2, 1, 2.
Picture this, everyday all-American hometown wannabes, flooding our streets and towns, cruising our pastures. You ain't fooling me. I see what you're doing. I see you. Wielding the full forces of routine and mundane and leaving in their wakes the opportunity to go and do it again tomorrow. Gadzooks, it's the Invisibles! Such is life for the citizens of It Takes a Village. Dads, moms, aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces, and yes, even we small children. The Invisibles! Occupied people experience a life of occupation, where hard work is not a chore, but the opportunity for a job that needs doing. Well, they may not be much to look at, but I tell you what, they get the job done. Supporting truth, justice, and a paycheck again this time next week. The Invisibles.
I have a lot of pictures from different places that I did in America, like shows and different places. My dad in the early days was a really intelligent and artistic person. He was a contractor and a musician in the early days, in the 60s and the 50s. My dad came from Grenada, my mom came from Grenada, and they came to Trinidad. And I was born in Trinidad in 1949. English and the Romans religion is the prominent religion in Trinidad. A lot of English religion and Catholics. Huge down there, huge Catholic society and huge Anglican or English society. As far as religion teachings is concerned. You also got the Methodist, the Pentecostal, you got the local Baptists, you got the cultural people, the Orishas and different things. You know, it's a real mix. But individuals have their different concepts. Gathering basis, or you know, I say it's pretty alright because they have this big carnival that they have every year. And everybody comes out and take part in carnival. They start the celebration right after Christmas. And then it goes down right until Tuesday before Ashes. Half of the nation, they come out and take part in carnival. A lot of tourists, a lot of sailors, a lot of people from different parts of the world, England, America, comes to Trinidad for carnival. And now that they have so many people from Trinidad living in America, they all come back. I haven't been there for a long time, but a lot of tourists from England, Sweden, Australia, different parts of the world, they come to Trinidad for carnival. The only people that may not take part in carnival is the serious Christians, people who are really strongly Christian-minded. They say carnival is not supportive of them because it's not a celebration of spiritualism, but it's a celebration of art. But it's how you look at it. Even in New York, they have for Labor Day, they have a Trinidad and Tobago celebration in New York. They have a Labor Day celebration that is indigenous with what goes on in Trinidad. Steel drums and different costumes that relate to Trinidad. Well, way back in Trinidad in the 60s, it was really nice. The water was clean. I used to live about 2 blocks from the river. I used to go to the river every morning. I learned to swim. It was a really nice environment. It wasn't no fear, you know, you could walk the street, move around. And I developed my musical talent by hearing. I used to play the pan by hearing. And I trained myself after from hearing. I read books, and I developed different techniques. I played the guitar and the steel drums and percussion instruments and things like that. Like Harry Belafonte, then we had the people like the Mighty Sparrow, Lord Melody, Spoiler, the Mighty Bomber. Those was the local folk composers or calypsonians, because calypso and soca music is indigenous to Trinidad. And that local music, we had heroes like Sparrow and Melody, the Bomber, Spoiler, you know, different calypsonians. That was really local. Kitchener, you know, that really attracted, I was attracted to. But my teachings from my upbringing was mostly inspiration for myself, reading books and developing myself. So right after the war, after 42, my parents came to Trinidad, and my father was well trained. He was a contractor and a musician. My mom was basically a housewife. My father used to get a lot of jobs and money, but he wasn't a constructive person. Well, my father, he used to talk a lot about Paul Robeson, which I really don't know much about. He used to always talk about Paul Robeson, and that's the only one I can remember, you know. Fellas like Paul Robeson and what's that guy named Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington, you know what I mean? That's the kind of jazz people, you know. 50% East Indian and 50% African. People came from India and people came from Africa, and they developed like a socialite kind of people in Trinidad. In the early days, they had people from South America. The original people was the Caribs and the Arawaks, which is more like a Spanish descent people. And after the Carib and the Arawaks, when Columbus came, the Carib and the Arawaks, they all got sick and they died out. And then the Africans and the Indians came. The Africans came first and then the Indians came after. And it was about equal among 50-50. And now we develop a mixed race between African and Indian. It have its own original mixed kind of people. Similar like America, we have like high school, we have the first kindergarten, junior school, and then we have the high school, and then we have the colleges. More like a British pattern. When I was growing up, I would say everybody in my age situation more or less attended school. We didn't have a large dropout. Maybe after my period in the 70s, dropout standard became higher, you know, because they changed the system, you know, the system was changed. The way they bring in some new academic kind of training and the system changed. There's a lot of restrictions. They started to do a lot of local stuff in Trinidad. Produce a lot of local garments, local food. So they kind of cut down on the amount of money that they give you to import stuff. And then the bigger companies, they make a big monopoly about it. They say they import in raw material from America and they develop different factories to make things. So you as a small man can't develop nothing. You know, because the bigger companies, they claim how they import in raw material and they hire in the local people to work in the factories to create local garments and foods and tools and whatever we used to import. It's bad. The leaders, it's just like American leaders, they don't know what to do because they're not connected spiritually. They don't know what to do. And they misuse their independence. They're so independent that little piece of independence they have, they misuse it because of the materialistic attraction. They don't really come up with the right solution for the problems that we have in the world today. Early days, I was really familiar with a lot of classical composers. Handel, Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, you know, different people like that. Because when I learned to play the steel drums, we had this competition called the Music Festival. And one or two of the renditions have to be classical. I was familiar with them. But locally, I would hear my music in a creative way. So I was more attracted to more R&B singers from America, like James Brown, Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke, B.B. King, musicians like that. I was more Nat King Cole, Lou Rawls. I was more attracted to those kind of people, Ray Charles, you know what I mean? The so-called democratic society, and they have the rich and the poor and the middle class and all that kind of stuff there. But it's a small country and it only have about 1 million people, so it's not really stressful like in America. It's a very rich country also that is being mishandled. It's very, very rich country. They got a lot of agriculture, they got a lot of asphalt, they got a lot of bauxite. It's a very, very wealthy place, a very unique place, In the 50s, the local people started to rule, and in the 60s, they became independent. And it was better when they became independent. Things was really going good. At one time, Trinidad dollar and American dollar was on the same level, 1 for 1. But again, mishandled politics, like cultured people, folklore kind of culture, And in the 60s, the politics really get heavy. It crosses over and it mixes and it develops into what it is today. But it stemmed from the culture that was there. It came from that culture. Because from the tambu bamboo, before we start playing the steel drums, we had the tambu bamboo. We used to knock on the bamboo and knock on the side of the drum. And from the tambu bamboo and knocking on the side of the drum came the influence to create the steel drum.
Oh, and I'd say that concludes another fun fact-filled frolic with the Invisibles, the wannabes that inspire us all to wanna be.